I can't believe I've never done this before.
Yeah, that's what loads of people say, and just wait until you start, then you're like, oh, okay, I wish you had told me about this 6 months ago.
Yeah. You know, at the end of the month, you think, wow, where has all of my OnlyFans money gone? And you don't even realise it. It just happens.
An OnlyFans person that actually planned something.
Wow.
And that's literally it.
Oh my god, it's so easy.
Literally it. It generally is. Yo, welcome everyone back again to the season 2 of the OhKayPodcast, and today a very special guest in a very interesting industry. Dee, please can you introduce yourself to the wonderful people of YouTube?
Hi everyone. For the purpose of anonymity, my name's Dee, and I am, I guess you could call, a OnlyFans model.
As many of you people that may be wondering, like, hey, okay, so this is what you're going down now. No, guys, no. And I just want to be very clear with my purpose for this. OnlyFans is a very specific topic that everyone has some kind of opinion about, you know, and I feel like everyone, especially on the internet, kind of has more of a negative connotation towards it, and that can be understandable. But when there's so much money going into this industry, so many people jumping into this industry with not that much information, the way I think about things and the way I want my channel to be, I want my channel to be an information source for loads of different types of people. So when I personally see that I feel like a lot of OnlyFans models are going into this industry without thinking of long-term prospects with their finances, I was like, you know what? It'll be cool to speak to someone, see their opinion on it, whilst also giving some kind of informative information about how they could actually change this volatile career into something that could actually be sustainable if they knew about investing. So that is the whole purpose of this. Like I said, many of my audience members will be asking you, Dee, it's like, why would you choose OnlyFans? Why not Twitch or Periscope or some other kind of social platform?
So I have actually had people suggest to me before to stream on Twitch and, you know, things like that. And I'm not against it, honestly. I just don't have like the setup or anything for it right now. I would actually like to do it in the future. But, the reason why I chose OnlyFans really was because I've always been really comfortable with my body. I've been happy to make kind of like risque content. I feel like I'm good at it as well. And OnlyFans is one of the places where you can have a really massive amount of control over the content that you make, the audience that sees it. And yeah, OnlyFans take 20% of every payment that's made, which is a lot, but I feel like it's worth it for the privacy and the control that you have over your content.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I feel like, I mean, I do have content on other sites as well, and they also take 20%, but I do feel like OnlyFans, with the privacy that you do get and the control, I do think it's worth it. I think that's why I chose it. When I was doing my research, I thought, oh, like, that's the one I'll go for.
Okay, no, that's really interesting. I'm so happy that you reached out to me for this, because my initial worry was, okay, cool, I definitely want to interview someone that has OnlyFans, but because I'm also aware of the connotations that come with it and the statistics of people that generally create OnlyFans, I hope that they've gone the extra mile to like think about all these things, and you definitely have. The same way like I've sat down and I thought about, okay, what's the direction of this channel that I want to take it in? You thought about, you know, things about your OnlyFans, and you even told me some things that I was completely unaware of.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely helps, like, going into things with some kind of understanding or, like, long-term goal. I think you are aware that OnlyFans is a kind of career path that it may not have the same kind of longevity as, like, a normal 9-to-5.
Yeah.
You know? So when it comes to finances now, my worry is I see loads of young people definitely signing up to OnlyFans, are making, some of them are lucky enough to make a lot of money, but they're spending it just as fast as they make it. Yeah. And I've seen so few OnlyFans models that invest. So, do you invest? And it's completely fine if you don't.
Do you know what? I don't. I was
Okay.
one of those people as well that, like, when I started seeing that I could make money from it, I kind of just got really excited, and I just would spend it as soon as I got it, basically. I kind of just saw it as like extra disposable income. So, you know, like, I could spend, in my head I was thinking, oh, I can spend my OnlyFans money because, you know, my real job is what pays my bills. So it's like, oh, I can just throw this money away, when really, when you look at how much I've spent now, it's kind of like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Well, at least you know that.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine. And again, for anybody else that's watching this, even maybe other OnlyFans models, I'm not the kind of person that wants to ever police like the way someone spends their money. I'm trying to help people to understand their finances so they can make more money. So what I'm trying to help Dee with now, so say now, the way I see it, OnlyFans is a risky career path. But it's a career path, and people are going to go into it one way or another. And to the other audience members that are watching this that may not like the fact that when I'm talking about this, there's so many people that you know currently in your life right now, I guarantee it, that have OnlyFans accounts. They they won't tell you.
1000%.
They won't tell you, but they have it. So wouldn't you prefer that they are in control of their finances and have this potential career path that they're already doing, but now they know how to actually generate income from their money that they make? So for example now, Dee, say now you were lucky enough to earn £1 million in OnlyFans this year.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to invest the majority of that after taxes, you know, obviously take out your living expenses, take out your bills, you know, that alone could actually generate you enough money to start to be able to actually live off for a potential amount of time. You know, so when people think about investing now, this might be one of the things that put you off, or maybe you've always thought about starting, but you just didn't understand it because it just seems like alien hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
An easier way to put it, say now, give me an example of something that you normally like to spend your money on.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god, I can't think.
Anything at all.
Online games.
Okay, online games. Okay, so you've given me quite a few things to pick from. So online games, let's say Take-Two Interactive, they own Rockstar, so they're the creators of like GTA, on Red Dead Redemption. You can invest in them. You can invest in Activision Blizzard. They're the creators of like Overwatch, you know. So let's say you put some money into them. Instead of buying the games yourself, you put money into the actual companies, and through the appreciation of the stock, you can now take, or you can now sell some of that stock and use that to buy the game. So it's kind of like the company itself is purchasing their product for you instead of you paying for it.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, lots of people kind of always complicate investing. It's like, oh, I don't know what to invest in, but you have all these things that you like already. And normally, these companies that make the products that you like are generally doing okay. So if you just invest in them and use the profits for their stock to then use in your lifestyle, that's a way to start to become what I like to think of as an intelligent consumer. When people talk about retirement now, that's just the companies or your workplace now investing a part of your income into these different pension funds, which all they do is invest in the stock market. Okay, so they're taking your tiny bit of salary and just putting it away and letting that grow over time. So the way I see with OnlyFans models, if they are aware of investing and because it's risky, they have to literally invest like 90% of their income. But if they actually earn a lot, they can retire so much earlier than most people, you know. And I think that's something that loads of OnlyFans people probably don't do. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
What was your mindset creating the OnlyFans account? Like, how did you think it was going to be?
Honestly, I mean, I did a lot of research before I made an account, but I did still go into it with some like naivety. I kind of thought that it was just going to be like an easy way to make money. Because like I said, I am like fairly confident in my body and myself and things. So I did think it was just going to be like a quick a quick way to get a bit of cash, and I realized very quickly that it is the complete opposite. So that's kind of why I started, because I thought, oh, it'll be quick, like I can get money easily, I can comfortably live and pay my bills and things and not have to worry about, making it to the next paycheck, really.
If you don't mind, 'cause I feel like this, when I was trying to research more things to ask you during this, I was also looking at there's a couple YouTube videos that other OnlyFans stars make about how to make OnlyFans, and I feel like they gloss over so many different aspects that people take for granted when they first start. Because, like I said to you, Dee, like, I get it. Like, if I was a young, attractive girl, like, living in today's times, and I've been very aware of, like, the Twitch sphere and how, like, now you've got the hot tub streams. You've always had booby streamers. Let's just put it that way. So I understand the appeal, and I understand the idea that if you were like that, you feel like you definitely could easily extract money from these sites. And I think, like, loads of other females do think like that as well. So could you kind of go into a tiny bit of, like, the actual struggle behind, like, once you actually started, all these misconceptions that you had, like, what changed?
Yeah, so I guess one of the main things that people don't talk about is that unless you already have a following, unless you already have a crowd of people behind you, unless you're a big Instagram influencer or unless you're a celebrity of some kind, it is so hard to get started and get your name out there and actually get people to spend their money on you. Because, essentially you're a no-name. So, it's different if they saw, I don't know, Beyonce on OnlyFans. You don't have to convince many people to go and spend their money. So that was the hardest thing for me, was building up promoting yourself basically constantly, 24 hours a day, day in, day out. Like, I wouldn't sleep. I would, stay up talking to people, because a lot of my demographics in America, and obviously the time difference, is huge. So the times where they would be awake, where I would earn my money, I was supposed to be sleeping, but I wouldn't, because I need the money. So that was probably the biggest thing, is not having an audience straight away. And trying to figure out what people want and trying to create boundaries as well. I think people think when you have an OnlyFans you don't have any boundaries and that you'll just do anything. And creating boundaries was quite hard, because a lot of people get quite angry at you. But a number of things, really.
Guys, guys, if you like this content, make sure that you're subscribing, you're hitting that like button, and you're also engaging with the content. Because, like I said, I want to do another episode with Dee where we actually go more into the social aspects, because there's so much to talk about when we go into this.
There really is.
For this episode, I do kind of want to stick more to, like, the business and the financial aspects of it, but there's so much to talk about. I think that's interesting that you said, because that's another misconception that I think loads of people, when they talk about OnlyFans, they'll often quote, not everyone is, like, posting, like, risque content. There are some cosplayers on there. You can just kind of post, like, just slightly more risque versions of, like, normal Instagram content. But I think the reality is that you will realize once you go on there, especially if you don't have a big following, there's competition. And the people that subscribe to you are essentially going to want a tiny bit more over time. So how have you found that evolving your content over time?
So I started it off, I think there's a natural progression with it anyway, but people get bored easily. When they pay for something and they expect something, they do get bored, because there's a level of, well, they think, I'm paying for this, so why aren't I getting X, Y, and Z. I started off with fairly tame, like, lingerie, teasing, etc., and then it kind of gradually gotten more varied and more explicit over time, which I'm happy with. I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't confident with myself and my content and things. But it comes down to keeping people interested and ultimately spending their money. I think people who are new to OnlyFans just need to be aware of the potential evolving of their content, even if they end up doing things that they never intended to do in the first place, which was kind of, when I look back on my content when I started versus now, it's very, very different.
Interesting.
But it's all because I have my bills to pay for. I have to try and continue to make money and keep people excited and interested.
I think that was one of the main reasons why you said you created the your OnlyFans, because of obviously the pandemic has hit loads of different people in different ways. So I think loads of people can empathize with that. But when it comes to like paying bills now, when you invest in stocks, there's two types of stocks, right? There's dividend paying stocks and then there's non-dividend paying stocks. So a dividend paying stock is kind of like an interest account, okay? So you put a certain amount of money into it, and then based off the amount of money that you've put in, they pay you back a certain percentage. So loads of companies do this. So let's say now, like McDonald's now, I'm going to pretend McDonald's paid you 5% dividend yield. So if you put $100 into McDonald's, like they'll pay you $5 back over that year.
Okay.
So if you start to put a tiny bit of your income into this, over time, essentially what is happening is your money is starting to work for you and generate you income. So especially when it comes to bills now, it doesn't take that much money to put into dividend paying stocks that it can start to help actually contribute towards your bills now. Like I've spoken to some other financial creators like Dividends with Alisha that has like I think his portfolio at the moment like 25k now, but he's earning a decent amount, like I think about £100 every month now through dividends, you know, and that could be like a couple bills, you know. And that doesn't take that long to save up. I know it seems like a big number, but you have to kind of be aware that generally the stock market is increasing by about 8% every year. So you also have to add that in. So again, it's just an additional thing where if you're putting your money in the right places, it can really contribute to the goals that you have.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Just to kind of help me kind of all this mental maths that I'm doing, if you don't mind, how much did you make at the start when you first made your OnlyFans account in comparison to now? And is that going up or?
So it kind of, it fluctuates all the time. Obviously, you're relying on people to spend their money. It's, you know, people can be unpredictable. So it changes, it fluctuates. I am making more now, definitely, than I made at the start. Okay. But without being like too specific, I made about 5k in the first 4 months. I jumped from about the top 84% to the top 11% of creators in those 4 months, and the people that I've spoken to have said that that's quite a big jump, and the research that I've done as well on, you know, how much money people make, it's
I'm genuinely surprised because I've been looking at the stats, and you just like me hearing that number, I'm like, God damn. Okay, Dee, you're doing something right.
I hope so. But yeah, so I was quite surprised. But yeah, it does gradually go. It does fluctuate massively. I'm not going to sit here and say that it goes up constantly every single month, because it doesn't. Yeah. There are some months, especially when the pandemic started, especially when people started getting furloughed and things, that you know, my account on there would be dry for ages because people weren't working and they didn't have the money to spend. Yeah. So that obviously directly affects me, but it has been on sort of like a gradual incline with like fluctuating in between.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, no, goddamn, that's actually a lot more than I expected. Because from the stats that I've seen, in fact, let me just bring some up. I just want to pull up some metrics, which I think is quite interesting for some people to know. At the moment, OnlyFans has 50 million registered users, so there's about 7,000 to 8,000 new creators every single day. Let's say OnlyFans takes a 20% cut on its users' transactions, which I think is actually, it seems like a lot, but if you start to make YouTube content, YouTube takes 50%. Twitch, I think Twitch also takes 50%. Like, if you make apps on the App Store, I think they take about 30%. So like, to be honest, it's not that bad. But top 1% of accounts make 33% of the money, and most accounts take home less than $145 per month. So,
which is shocking, really.
Yeah, it really is. So don't think that you're going to jump into OnlyFans and be as successful as specific celebrities or even Dee, you know. I think one of the only people that I think that has done OnlyFans in a very intelligent way is Belle Delphine.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, she's created a kind of persona for herself before she did it. She obviously uses that to capitalize on it more, and even if OnlyFans was to implode tomorrow, she would still definitely have a following that would definitely give her money in one way or another.
Yeah.
You know? So I think loads of people that, if you are thinking about going into it, and I don't mean this in a harsh way, but definitely have some kind of personality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, it's all good to have a good body, but at the end of the day, like Dee is saying, that won't really keep people.
No.
And I think, Dee, you've probably realized that, you know. So how many subscribers do you think you would need to be financially independent?
So this one, believe it or not, is a bit complicated. Honestly, it really, really depends, because you could have thousands of subscribers, which is obviously amazing. But normal amateur people like myself, you don't tend to get that far unless you're really, really putting the work in. But it's like a full-time job, and it depends on the loyalty of people too. So the subscription is guaranteed monthly. Obviously, after OnlyFans have taken their 20%, if you don't charge much for your subscription fee, you don't get a lot of that. So if you have loyal subscribers that also tip you a lot, they buy your pay-per-view content and they request custom content, that's where the money really is. But then, you know, the other side of that, you're relying on people to really open their wallets more, which is scary and not guaranteed as well. So it is a bit complicated, but to be blunt, I'd probably be happy with like 500 plus. But in an ideal world, I would rather have 200 loyal subscribers who do all of those things than like 1,000 people who just subscribe and don't do anything else. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Those people could also, also drop off.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. It's kind of very similar to how I think with, because now, guys, if you want to support the channel, you know, there's Buy Me a Coffee. It really does help. But the people that either subscribe to my Patreon or are kind enough to donate directly to me through Buy Me a Coffee, I always think, okay, it's only 1% of my audience that's going to do that. So if I just increase my audience, you know, it starts to kind of make sense over a longer time frame. So I think with you now, it will kind of be the same. So obviously it helps. The more people that are on your content, the better. Yeah. But I guess it also depends what type of content you make. I guess another problem kind of with OnlyFans is that it's not only you really are competing against other people, because it's not just about gathering or keeping eyes on you. It's that this subscriber now is choosing to purchase your content over other people's. You know, it's kind of like a zero-sum game. You can't have everyone kind of winning equally. So, like, how do you like view the competition on OnlyFans, and what do you think you can do to like overcome it?
So I think, especially since OnlyFans has become more mainstream, the competition is huge. Obviously, I mean, you said earlier about the 50 million users now.
Yep.
And you do get celebrities and influencers on there that immediately will have thousands and thousands of subscribers, which knocks your percentages down. You know, then you're further down the list for people to find. You just have to find what makes you unique, really. Like you said, you know, with Belle Delphine, she is so weird, and like that's
that's an understatement.
Like that's why, I mean, people click on her initially because she's, you know, pretty or whatever, but then people stay because she's so weird. The same with like Jessica Negri as well. Like people click for her boobs but then stay because she's really weird too. It's the same thing. You just, you know, the competition is undeniably difficult, but it's just find what makes you unique on there. Offer things that other people don't. And like you said as well, like people are going to spend your money on you, so you need to think of a reason why should these people spend their money on me and not somebody else. And also like do tons of research beforehand, because I think when people think of like sex work, they think of it very, they don't think there's much to it, but there's so much different types of sex work, and what best suits one person might not best suit somebody else. And you know, it's I just think that's probably the main thing, is find what makes you unique and ultimately be consistent as well, because I guarantee if you offer any type of weird or unique service or something, somebody somewhere is going to be into it. So I think that's probably the main thing. Yeah, no, that's very true, and I think that's valid advice. It's kind of a similar kind of advice that I give to people that want to start something on YouTube. Like I always hear people say, oh, like what can I do? YouTube is oversaturated and blah, 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 blah. But if you are uniquely yourself and you focus on the value that you can give, there's going to be someone that likes your flavor of the content that you put out there. So as long as you're just pumping out the content, eventually your audience will eventually find you. So, but I think, like the misconception that Dee is fabulously breaking down is you're gonna have to put in work, guys. For sure. Don't think that it's just OnlyFans is this one-way ticket guide to, like, you know, this amazing lifestyle that you can do whatever you want. But yeah, speaking about lifestyle, do you think that you have fallen under this very famous thing known as lifestyle inflation? Oh, I don't actually know what that is.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll explain it to you. So say now, like, let's say before OnlyFans, you were just kind of doing what you needed to do or doing what you can, okay? OnlyFans now comes along, over time you're generating a decent amount, you can pay your bills. Now are you purchasing things that maybe you don't specifically need, and just because you see this money coming in, you feel like it's a thing that could consistently come in over a period of time, you start to increase your expenses. So instead of, like, you know, I'm only going to go out to eat once a month. Oh, you know, this really nice place. Oh, this place has crab. Oh, lobster. Oh, I've never tried that before. You know, yeah.
Oh, definitely. And I do know what I think it happens, and you don't even realize that it's happening.
Interesting.
Like you said, it with going out for dinner and stuff, you might, or get a takeaway, you might do that once a month, and then you find yourself going out for dinner, you know, every weekend, or you find yourself maybe taking, like, your friends or whoever on holiday, and then, you know, things like that. And I think it creeps up on you, really, and then, you know, at the end of the month, you think, wow, where has all of my OnlyFans money gone? And you don't even realise it. It just happens. Just even if you're browsing shops or anything, you think, oh, I could get that, like, I don't need it, but I've got the money for it now, and then it's gone. I'm gonna teach you some very quick financial, like, mindset tips. So if you see something that you're like, okay, cool, I can afford this, unless you can comfortably buy 5 of those things, you cannot afford it. Wow.
Okay? Because like, that is a very good way to think about it, because we live in this mindset where, okay, you earn money, it's kind of like ingrained at you at first, like, okay, I've earned this money, I deserve to spend it, and most of the time you will go and spend it. But the problem with this, like, is that, like you said, it creeps up on you. You didn't even know what it is, but you realize that, this is something that you've definitely felt. If we're all honest to ourselves, we've all felt this. Like, I've been in loads of different types of job situations to earn different amounts, and I can tell you, no matter how much you earn, you can spend it. I've seen people that earn so much more than me that are definitely in so much more debt and were in a worse financial situation just because they let like, oh, this Tesla's nice. Okay, one day just come into the office, boom, I have a Tesla now. You know, but They're not thinking about what are they saving, what are they investing. So you also need to be like, okay, if I can't afford 5 of those things, I can't really afford it. Also, am I saving money? And then, very important, am I investing?
Yeah.
Okay? Because the one thing you will learn, the earlier you start investing, because investments increase generally by 8% per year, the earlier you start, the earlier your money can start working for you. So let me just say now, let's say you start off with an initial deposit of 0. Let's say you start off with nothing. Okay, over 40 years, let's say you put in £100 a month for 40 years. If we calculate that, at the end of the 40 years, you will have, okay, £349,000. Okay, so that's just through £100, which I think most people could actually save each month. That's just by cutting back, those chocolate bars that you spend every other day. Just put it back. Oh, you're going out that weekend, maybe not,
Yeah.
So now let's just double this. Okay, so let's go from 100 to 200, and let's see how much of a difference that makes. That's now nearly £700,000, and that's by 200. Okay, and we can keep on playing with this, and it increases ridiculously. And I don't even think £200 a month is, once you've planned for it, is that difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's just making people aware of this, because lots of people have never heard of this concept before. But then they're like, oh, okay, let me calculate my income. Okay, now let me calculate my expenses. Okay, let's say after you do that, you realize you have about £500 spare, and that's normally the amount that people use to buy the things that they don't need.
Yeah.
But if they realize, how about I put all of that 500 into investing? What would that do for me at the end of 40 years? Okay,
Yeah.
that's 1.7 million.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you can comfortably retire off of.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Like, see, and this is the thing that people, and again, Dee, I'll send you all of these resources at the end, so you can see it yourself. And so it's just making people realize, because I feel if you knew this, those times where you're like planning those holidays or looking at those bags or going to those restaurants, you start to realize this other thing called opportunity cost. Yes, I could go on this holiday, I could buy this bag, I could eat this, but this is money that would go now, and that's taking away from so much more that I could earn through just putting it away and leaving it. Do you know what I mean? So it's just understanding that mindset, and I'm just trying to make a lot more people aware of it, and it really isn't that hard, because all you need to do, again, I mentioned other companies, you can just put all of your money into this one investment vehicle known as the S&P 500, which is kind of like, I like to kind of explain it like a Haribo. Okay, if you go into a sweet shop and you have no idea what sweet you wanted, okay, what people normally do, okay, they'll take a little bit of tasters of everything. Okay, I'm gonna go over here, taste some of this sherbet, taste this lollipop, or you can just get a Haribo Star Mix, which kind of has a mix of different things in it. That's kind of like the S&P 500. It's a basket of the top 500 companies in America. So you buy this one thing, and it represents that. Okay, and over time, the top 500 companies in America have generally been historically proven to go up over time. Okay, so they go up by about 7 to 8% per year. So if you just put your money into that over your lifetime, you will literally do better than like 85% of investors.
Wow.
And that's literally it.
Oh my god, it's
That
so
is
easy.
literally it. It generally is, but it's just the knowledge isn't out there. So I said, if people were to take risky career paths like OnlyFans, or even like certain working in certain sports teams, and they realize, okay, the amount of money that they're making is more than they need to actually like live, and they invest a lot of that, they can start to be fine. They really can be. So with your content and the things that you're doing, where do you see this all going, and where would your end goal be?
Oh, honestly, this is probably really bad, but I don't actually have an end goal.
That's fine.
To be honest, I'll keep doing it as long as I'm having fun and feeling like comfortable and making good content. Like, I'd love to be financially independent with it, but I'm also conflicted because I wouldn't want it to reach a level on it where my real life, you know, in quotations, real life and private and personal life become affected. You know, it's hard. It's a hard balance, because I have got people that know me personally that if they found out, they would be devastated. And if it did get to a level, you know, everybody goes on the internet and you just never know what people will stumble across. So I would love to reach a level of financial independence, but not so much that it ruins all of the other real things for me, which is, you know, once people find you, and you know, it's a hard thing to stop. It's like it's a snowball effect, really. Yeah. Which is hard to stop.
Like I said in our conversation, I don't really think it's like, I don't think it's a question of if, it's a question of when.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's just even thinking about like the business model, like you are trying to promote yourself, because if you don't promote it, no one's gonna purchase it. No one's gonna see it. You know what I mean? So you're kind of like, oh, I want to promote it, and I want loads of people to see it, but at the same time, I don't want specific people to see it. But so it's like, even with my own stuff now, obviously I'm behind the character now. I'm not showing my own face for a specific reason. I've explained this to people that are close to me several times, and loads of people still don't really get it. But I've also found myself like, okay, I need to share this to people, or else no one's going to see my content. But at the same time, I don't want people to actually know that I'm actually like doing this and stuff, you know. Because like even for me, like I'm doing financial stuff, but I feel like now so many corporations, so many workplaces are so nervous about any type of online content creation. I've known someone that was just doing like a friendly, like just t-shirt business. Her company found out that she was doing it, and they're like, yeah, take it down or you don't have a job.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
You know what I mean? I think that's crazy. So that's like with, you know, normal content, and then when it comes to OnlyFans, I'm sure, employers will act a very different way.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. It is terrifying. It's very risky, I think.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to know, like, do you have any questions for me? Like, have any of the things that I've told you given you a different perspective of how you could possibly start to funnel some of your OnlyFans money to make this career path now even more sustainable?
Yeah, definitely. The thinking if you can't afford 5 things, 5 of one thing, don't get it. I've never ever, it's so simple, but I've never thought that way before. And I think that's such a good way to think. I think I will definitely use that every single day now. It's funny because when you think of investing, I think of it as such a big, scary word that I don't know anything about. And I'm really grateful that you can break it down and make it, you know, understandable for people like me who maybe don't know where to put their money. And it's just given me a bit of insight that maybe I should be a bit more sensible and just think of future me.
That's one thing that I think, because when people have so many misconceptions about finance and money, and people like to put it in a certain way, but all finance and money is, well, money specifically, is opportunity. You know, the more money you have, the more opportunities you have, and I think you owe it to your future self to give yourself as much opportunity as you can, you know. So I don't shun like riskier career choices, as long as people have thought about a way that they can balance their opportunity to be able to allow themselves to have more of it in the long run.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so because I think especially YouTube, YouTube has the bad stigma of only portraying a specific type of person, and I feel like lots of people listening to this now, they'll be like, wow, I had this impression of OnlyFans people, but Dee, she seems to be like one of the most level-headed, like an OnlyFans person that actually planned something. You know, that may sound offensive, but this is people's conception. You know, so it's nice to see. I'm sure there are other OnlyFans members that like do obviously like invest and stuff, but
definitely.
You know, and let me kind of give you another tip. When it comes to planning retirement now, how much money do you think you could comfortably retire on? And I mean, like, How much money do you think you would spend per year in your retirement?
Oh my goodness. I have never thought about that.
It's fine.
I have no idea. I don't even.
Now's
I have
the
no
time.
idea how much money I spend in a year now.
Okay. You definitely want to calculate that. Okay, Dee, you have to promise me you're going to do that. Okay, so let's say now, do you think you could comfortably live off 30k a year, like, once you're retired? So that's like when you're older, like, or do you think you need more? It's completely fine. I'm just going to try and help you kind of calculate how much money you would need.
I feel like I live fairly, like, frugally, so potentially, yeah.
Okay. If you were able to get a portfolio amount of £666,666, okay, that would generate you 30k per year. If, like, the dividends from that were about 4.5%. Now, so, like, the compound interest calculator, it literally breaks down per year how much your interest is and all the different calculations. So let's just say you even putting down the £500 per month, by year 29 you would already have 682, which would already be enough for you to start generating that amount. So if you're putting only £500 a month, you would actually reach that goal fairly quickly, because you would actually retire a lot quicker than the normal retirement age. It's just people realizing, okay, how are these things calculated? How can I do this myself? And how can I actually increase that goal? Because I'm sure 30k is fine, but most people always want more. And like I said, it's also about knowing this, also about trying to diversify and creating multiple income streams. So this is another thing I kind of wanted to talk about. It's like, how do you think OnlyFans can be diversified more? Because I talked about investing now. What else could you possibly do?
In terms of, like, their business model, or...
Yeah.
So, for people that aren't aware, OnlyFans, the site, is basically focused around paywalled content in some form of it, or some way or another. The content creator, so the model or whoever, whatever you want to call them, they're in charge of exactly how they paywall their content. So this can be from subscription or pay-per-view message, or, you know, you could have a free account where people can subscribe for free, but it could cost them, I don't know, £5 to message them, to talk to them. So, or vice versa, you know, it could be pay to subscribe but free to talk to someone. So there's, like, loads of variation in how you paywall your content. It isn't just the subscription and then nothing else, which I really like. I think is quite interesting. So in general, I do quite like their business model. The only thing that I would change is if you block someone, for example, if you were subscribed to my OnlyFans and you were giving me harassment or some form of abuse and I blocked you, you would be refunded all of the money that you have spent on me. So I started getting abuse from one man once on OnlyFans, and I blocked him, but that meant that I simultaneously lost hundreds of pounds at the same time.
Wait, they already do this? Damn.
Obviously, you would get people that would exploit that and would just block people, you know, and do whatever, but I do think that, like, legitimate blocking cases should be investigated so that the creator doesn't lose out, because you know, somebody could be subscribed to you for years, you know, and the money that they spend on you then could be tens of, you know, even hundreds of thousands of pounds, and if you block them one day, that's all gone. That they get refunded all of that.
That's crazy. I was not aware of that. Because I thought you were telling me that as in that's something that they should do.
No, that's what they do. I wish they didn't.
Yeah. I don't even know how they do that, because that doesn't seem to make sense. Like, that can be exploited so easily.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because so OnlyFans, they have this. It is illegal to save, download, share, or any of anyone's content, which is obviously good. But If let's say, for example, I spend 3 hours making some custom content for somebody and they spend, I don't know, £200, and they don't like it, I cannot issue a refund. The OnlyFans does not do refunds. The only way that they will get refunded is if I block them. But then obviously I'm missing out. So this is
where it incentivizes them to kind of be toxic. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you kind of you're kind of inviting like a certain type of person.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, and it's scary because you put a lot of trust in these strangers. But yeah, that would be the main thing that I would change for sure.
Through my conversation with you and just kind of thinking about it and my own research, I feel like obviously OnlyFans is a kind of like risque, that kind of site, and just kind of thinking about the psychology of the people that pay for that kind of content. I think a lot of the reasons why those people pay is because what they feel like they can get from OnlyFans, which they can't get from other kind of sites, is the kind of connection.
Yeah.
So I think people like you that maybe started OnlyFans without having a following, I think there's kind of a way to kind of reverse do that. So let's say now, tell me whether this is a stupid idea or not. Patreon has tiers, right? So if you realize, okay, you've got this certain kind of following and they've kind of been consistently paying you, kind of offer them a paid wall thing to kind of allow them to go off-site to like YouTube now, where you created another YouTube that's all the videos are unlisted, so they can't actually see any of that content unless they get the links. So, but it's you just kind of doing normal things, just creating normal YouTube videos, so they can kind of see the other normal side of you, which I actually think they want to see. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But they have to pay for it. So you're kind of growing a YouTube channel, but people are paying for you to like kind of grow. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Yeah, it's funny because that's exactly what people want. They want the connection, and they want to feel like, they get something from you that nobody else in the world gets.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, if it's custom content for one person, that's true. But some people will pay a lot of money, silly money, to just talk to you all day and just ask you about like your life, and they want you to be a bit vulnerable with them. Which I mean, is I'm not going to judge what people want to spend their money on. But yeah, that is ultimately what people want, I think, anyway. They want to see like boobs to begin with, and then they want like the girlfriend experience, really.
Yeah, 100%. This is why, like, in fact, I always have so many stupid ideas, but I'm obviously very into anime and like everything Japanese, and looking at the Japanese culture when it comes to like sex work and stuff. They have so many services for everything. Like, you can pay people to be your pretend girlfriend. You can pay people to like. There's so many things. They have like hugging services. It's crazy. So I was like, wow, this is gonna move to the UK eventually, because I see very similar aspects of the UK to how Japan used to be. I feel like we're slowly getting to that side, because once you start to make these things transactional, which I think, is the natural progression of things, I feel like it only leaves way for businesses to step in and to make these kind of things that we already want more efficient, essentially. So, yeah, that will be very interesting once those start to come on. Do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. How have you found for you is the best way that you started investing? Like, if you're me, for example, I've never invested anything really in my life. What would, if you're in my position, what would be, where would you start, really?
Okay, so like, I just interviewed the amazing Dan not too long ago, and he gave a really, really good tip. The first thing you do is ask, okay? So you've already gone past that, and you've asked me now. There's so many useful resources out there to explain the whole concept of it. YouTube is a good place to go if you're searching the right things. Don't listen to all these hype people that are like, top 3 stocks to buy this month. Nah, just listen to like actually sensible people that explain the concept of investing first, so you understand why you're doing it, and you have to make your own goals. So first of all, you need to understand, just for our conversation, you need to understand the money that you're spending already. So you have an idea of what you can actually afford to invest. I don't want you to invest so much that now you can't afford to keep the lights on or to feed yourself. Do you know what I mean? So, like in my video now, Beginner's Guide to Investing, which you guys should check out, I explain, understand your income, your expenses, and then once you've got a number of how much you can actually afford to invest, then you can break that number up and start to put it into different investments. And like you said, if you've just started off now, it's very daunting. So you can choose two paths now. You can choose the path I chose, which is individual stock picking. So actually looking out, okay, I want to choose, I want to invest in Tesla, I want to invest in McDonald's or Nike. You can do that. Or you're like, that's too complicated. I just want to put my money in one place and just do that every month for the rest of my life. That's called more passive investing, and you just stick to indexes like the S&P 500 that I explained before. And generally, like the statistics go, you will do better than most people if you just stick to the passive way. So just the S&P 500, just put a certain amount in there every month, and you'll be fine. That's literally all you need to do.
I think that's what I'm most interested in, is the passive investing, because I do see people talk about investing a lot online, and it not the passive one, the other one, it's so stocks, confusing to me. And I think maybe for a lot of other people as well, but I think the passive one definitely 100%. Sounds like the route that I would personally go down. Yeah,
it's kind of like a life hack, because really all it is, and just to kind of explain it a bit more, I know people will be watching this and still haven't really understood anything that I've said. Essentially, you are yourself, right? You're working and you have to earn your money actively. When you put money into investment instruments, it's kind of like you're cloning yourself. You're cloning yourself, but this clone comes out like a tenth of the size of you. So you've got like a little mini-me.
Yeah.
But that mini-me is also working, but that mini-me never gets tired. That mini-me is constantly working and generating income, and then that mini-me is buying another mini-me. Okay? And over time, that mini-me, you look over to your shoulder one day, and it's literally the same size of you. Yeah. That's where now your passive income is making as much as you make actively.
Right.
So if you decided that you wanted to step out, that's like you now. You're constantly working, but the real you is just chilling.
Yeah.
Did you follow that concept?
Yeah, I do.
And I'm trying to reach out to young people, because obviously this is a concept that takes time.
Yeah.
But the earlier you start, the better it is for you.
Yeah.
And obviously the more money that you put in, instead of it starting off a tenth of you, it can start off like a third of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I try to make YouTube videos to kind of explain these concepts, because there is a lot to it. But if you want to do it passively, like now, if you want to sign up to free trade now, guys, anyone that does, there's a link in the description. You can sign up. You get a free stock and I get a free stock. But you can kind of set up like a reoccurring payment for your bank. So you just send a certain amount of money every month. You can literally automate the process. So you just have to go into free trade, select the S&P 500, invest the money, and that's it.
Oh, wow. Really. I can't believe I've never done this before.
Yeah, that's what loads of people say, and just wait until you start, then you're like, oh, okay, I wish you had told me about this 6 months ago. I've heard it many times, but the good thing is that you are starting now instead of 10 years from now. Yeah. So, yeah. But Dee, thank you so much for this. I think we've learned a lot. Yeah. We've gone through a lot, and we are definitely having you back for part 2 so we can explain or discuss the social aspects.
I would love to.
Which I think will be really interesting.
Yeah, thank you so
much. But yeah,
much
is there anything you'd? No worries. Is there anything you want me to shout out or?
Don't think so. No.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so guys, remember to like the video, subscribe if you found that entertaining, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of the OK Podcast. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.